If you could do that multiple times throughout your day, 5 deep breaths, that's a start right there, because that is going to slow down the mind, slow down those thoughts, those busy work thoughts, and start to create space instantly. And once you do that,
Hello, Mark. Good morning.
good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. I'm talking out to you, so it can't be any better.
Nah, very good,
I,
very good.
appre- I appreciate your time today. I really love, I've been watching your videos
Hmm.
and also listen to your story. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah, thank you.
it's
So
really
grateful.
it's also sometimes when you talk to teachers and you hear them talk, so you think that they're in like a different place, and they did work on themselves, but you think that they started there, and listening to you and your honesty and your vulnerability, like, okay, so maybe I could also get there. If Mark is an amazing human being, and he's like, he had to do work to get there, and that means I
Hmm.
could also do it. So I love your vulnerability over there, that you basically give everyone the chance to connect to the place where they are right now, and from there to grow.
To grow,
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
And I do want to say that, I still go through the struggles. We all share the same daily struggles, getting the energy, getting the momentum, the motivation going, and things like that. And that's just a constant, but we get better at it. The more we do it, we build new habits and new circuitry in the body. We get our energy moving, and we grow. We grow.
That's
Yeah.
just for people to listen. We didn't even start talking, but just for people to listen to that last sentence,
Hmm.
in every area of life, it could be so hopeful, because it's not that the challenges disappear; it's that we know how to deal with them in a better way, and maybe even turn those challenges into stepping stones. When people start, for example, running, so it's not that all of a sudden it's easy, but they get better at it, and then they go to the next step, and also over there it's challenging. So only that sentence you said before. Thank you for like
Yes.
that alone is like wow, and for people to really acknowledge that, that could be so much.
It
But
is.
I want to go. Yeah, sorry.
We draw on those experiences. We draw on our past experiences and the challenges that we overcome. We learn something. Everything that we encounter is a learning experience. So we take the opportunity to really sit and reflect on it, and that's the growth moment there. And then we could bring those forward in future, in future situations.
For sure. I really connected that, and I appreciate that.
Hmm.
But I want to go a little bit deeper inside, because we live in a world that there's so many distractions, and there's a lot of beauty out there. That a lot of things that, in the past we couldn't do this. We can't talk to each other from two different
Right.
countries.
Hmm.
I'll say thousands of miles away. And so I'm saying there's a lot of beauty, but there are also so many distractions that also, if people are on a certain path, they kind of lose themselves, and like they kind of get lost and get out of track and back in track. So you talk a lot about, mind, body, spirit, and connecting to that energy. How can people, well, first, I want to believe that there is a how, but, what is it that you think, like, those main distractions that come up that, hold us back from this thing inside? And then how can we find those tools that can help us grow and connect more to ourselves? Find that right energy. I just want
Yeah.
to say one more thing, that I was listening to your
Hmm.
one of your shorts, and you said that if someone's now going on a boat, on a sailboat, and he's working really hard, with like rowing the boat, but he's not using there's a sail, and
Hmm.
there's a wind is there, but if he's not if he's not really listening to the wind, listening to himself, so he'll just work hard, but he won't move too much. But when I really love that, but now I'll let you answer.
Yeah. Well, we become ungrounded in the body. Our energy gets scattered out in the field. In the field, I mean this external reality. So when we're born, society kind of comes in and fills in all these gaps of how we're supposed to live our lives, how we're supposed to feel, what we're supposed to do, and how we're supposed to utilize our energy. And that's usually, going to college, going to school, going to college, getting a job, working for somebody else, all those kind of things. That's just how it is in this reality. That's programming. And we get oftentimes distracted with the programming. We live from the programming or the ego's perspective, trying to satisfy everybody else. and we lose something. We separate from who we truly are deep down in here in the heart. We lose that connection. And when we're not connected, we are living in anxiety and living in fear. These are the kind of emotions that come up because we're not in the body. We're not in the body. We're living out here in the field from what our five senses show us, okay, and what we learn in school and things like that, how we're supposed to be as a person. And that disconnects us from our higher self, from our soul's energy. So the key really is to, and I do want to say too, you're going to start to get signs that you're disconnected because of anxiety and fear and things like that, dense emotions. You're going to start to have this feeling of unfulfillment. You know, just something's not right. I'm working all these hours. Maybe I'm making a lot of money, but there's still a hole there. You know, I'm feeling very unfulfilled. And that's your soul's way of starting to get you to look inward, to try to get in and feel, get back into the body. Because when we get back into the body, we could connect and we could get our energy moving, our divine energy flow moving, and start to get and tap into our intuition. And, you know, what our life purpose is, what our life plan is, whether it's here just to experience this third dimensional space, this third dimensional reality. If we're here to work as a light worker and ground this energy and help others, we're here to coach, whatever it may be, that comes forward when we detach from that programming. We change those limiting beliefs as to how we're supposed to be, and we get inside and we start to feel what our soul is trying to bring forward. And that can be accomplished through meditation and breath work and things like that. These tools help you hit the pause button on the mind, because the mind
a second before these tools, I have to stop you because you said something that kind of doesn't really work in my mind. You're saying that people everything can work in their life and they'll have a work and also earn a nice salary and have, you know, family, kids, all nice, but there's still, if that's not what they're supposed to, if they're not working in terms of what their higher self needs, so they'll still have those symptoms of anxiety, even though everything around them you're saying is good. Mm-hmm. I know you were in a good job and everything, and actually did a lot of interesting hobbies in between. So you're saying even though we think everything is good, when these symptoms come up, even though outside we could do check, but inside it might not be a check. Is that correct?
Exactly. So your senses are showing you, hey, everything looks good, and all your family and your friends and everything. Wow, this person's very successful. He's playing the role that we expect him to play or her to play. But there's an emptiness inside, and it doesn't mean total life upheaval. It means get inside and try to get into better alignment so you can bring forward more of your true purpose into the life that you're actually living. So it could be as simple as that. It doesn't mean leaving your job, leaving your family, you know, your wife, you know, or husband, whatever it may be. It's just get into alignment and bring forward some of that life passion and bring it into the mix, and start with that and let that lead you forward.
So you're saying it could be, I love that. And I connect more to when people you don't need to leave everything and disappear and you know, start that new life. You're saying that you might be walking on a track, but in order to be the right person on the track, you just need to bring yourself and not what other people expect you to do. But you don't need just to leave everything, that's beautiful. Because that can sometimes bring...
You're missing an aspect of you, a very important aspect of you, is not being allowed to come forward, because you're so focused on the programming and creating the life that society expects you to create that you're missing something. And that's where that lack of fulfillment, that hole, comes into play. So we could get in there, and it could be just a simple matter of connecting up with your divine energy, getting in, taking some time to create some space between your daily routine and your thoughts, and feeling what you really would love to do, your passion, and getting in connection with that is sometimes all it takes. And it could just be a subtle shift that gets you on the track or a path of living a life of fulfillment.
Okay, but that, you said it really nicely and it sounds good, but I think to actually do it, I would love if you could share with people how can they get back on the track that is actually their track. And if you could just share some tools, because I know you have amazing tools, you practice them yourself and also help a lot of people. So if you could share some tools that will help people get back on their track, number one, and maybe in their track find themselves, find their newer selves that is already there, but they just need to uncover it. So what are those things that they could do and that each person could do? Like, I don't want any excuses.
You know what? Right. Everybody can do it. It's easy to do. The easiest thing to do is to close your eyes and bring awareness to your breath, breathing,
What does that
and
mean?
actually become your breath and move your breath in. You can pull it in from up here. Just close your eyes and actually become your breath as you move it up and down your body as you inhale and exhale. What that does is that allows the mind to stop and detach from a constant barrage of thoughts, things I need to do, things I'm worried about, what do I have anxiety about. We're giving the mind something productive to focus on. Okay, instead of that stuff right now, something to get it inward into the body. Okay, so we're bringing awareness back into the body, taking it from out of here, because when we're focused externally, our energy flow goes out there. We're bringing it back into the body, we're incorporating it into our breath, and we're moving it up and down our body, all the way down out the root, into the planet, breathe in, breathe back in, up into the heart, exhale out into the crown. That's the simple, easiest thing you can do. And if you could do that multiple times throughout your day, 5 deep breaths, that's a start right there, because that is going to slow down the mind, slow down those thoughts, those busy work thoughts, and start to create space instantly. And once you do that, it allows for something new to come forward, to rise up from within.
Amazing. That's so beautiful said. And I love what you say because it's something that really everyone can do it. And,
Everyone can do it.
as long as you're living and you're alive.
If you can
Uh,
breathe, you can do it.
exactly.
No
So
excuses.
no excuses. I really, I have no
Right.
time for those excuses here because, we really want, ourselves and other people to grow. But my question, I'll ask the questions and, thoughts come up, welcome to life. I do that breathing and all the things like all around come into my mind. So what do I do when all those thoughts come up?
You need to, well, you're saying after you're doing when you do the breath work, the more you
Yeah,
focus into the breathing, the more you're
I'm
going to
trying to
detach
listen
from
to my
those
inner
thoughts.
body.
Yes.
Exactly.
And you do it in quiet, and the thoughts are going to come up. The thoughts are there. We're not trying to stop the thoughts. But what
I
we want to
can.
do is we want to observe the thoughts. We want to create a little bit of space there and realize that, hey, that's not me. Those are just thoughts. It's just energy. Okay. So we detach from that. We allow them to be. A lot of times through life, we try to avoid the thoughts that don't feel good, the thoughts we don't like, and we push them, kind of tuck them away. I talk about tucking them back in your back pocket, and they'll come up later in a louder way, okay, in a booming kind of way. We want to learn to allow the thoughts to be, but we just want to be able to observe the thoughts and any emotions that come up with the thoughts. We could sit in presence with those and fully feel them. And we can do that while we're breathing. If we're breathing and focused on our breath and a thought comes up that doesn't feel so good, we fully feel it and we continue moving our breath up and down our body. So don't stop the thoughts. Allow them to be. We just want to give our mind something else to focus on.
That's I love what you said because so many times you hear about people saying stop your thoughts, focus on the breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying no, you can't really stop the thoughts. Just let them be, let them come in you, and then
Right.
just feel whatever it is and let them go. And I think that's really beautiful because then we see there's so much more into life, things that happen to us every day. And but when we stop and we put that awareness and in the breathing and
Mm-hmm.
listen to our body, you could discover so much more. So I do appreciate that tool. I think it's amazing. I would appreciate if you could give another tool for people that can help them, listen to their inner self, connect to their higher self.
Combine the breath work with meditation. Okay, and I'll do this. I'll try to meditate, at least 20 minutes a day, and I'll sit and I'll focus on my breath quietly instead of just taking 5 or 6 breaths. I'll sit, and I have. We want to get the brain waves into a lower state, to a slower state, alpha theta brainwave state, so we could relax. And if we could do that in meditation, what happens is the chemicals in the body and the hormones change. We start to get out of that fight or flight mode. We literally get back into the body. We're bringing awareness back into the body. And we start to feel tension kind of melt away. And we combine that with breath work, and it creates a whole new state of being that allows us to be more present. I even have a biometric headband that I'll wear when I meditate, that it'll track my brainwave state, so I could compare from session to session what's doing. You don't need to do that. I can feel it. I can sense it, when I shift into an alpha brainwave state or even a gamma brainwave state. But taking the time to do that, it builds new circuitry, new neural pathways, and it allows you to find the path to being able to calm your system down, to get it out of that fight or flight mode. So when you could consciously get into meditation, make a conscious effort to do it. And I always tell people to meditate not only when you're feeling bad, but when you're feeling good, meditate, okay? Because that's going to build that circuitry, and it's going to be a lot easier when you're triggered, some external situation, maybe somebody at work, whatever triggers you. You're going to have that circuitry in place that you're going to be able to just take a few quick breaths and calm yourself, completely 180 your nervous system, get you out of that fight or flight response.
I really connect to what you said now, that don't wait for that time, especially if people never did meditation. Don't wait for that really stressful time to be that first time, because secret, that won't work.
Right, exactly.
So I really connect to what you said there. But if someone's asking himself now, okay, Marc just said meditation, 20 minutes, if someone's new, maybe even less. What do people actually do? You have, what you use, but a person that is totally new in the field, or that is started already for some time and it's not really working, what are the simple steps? I understand breathing, but if we could make it simple, like what do I do when I meditate?
Well, sometimes, if you're sitting in quiet and you're breathing, the thoughts are noisy, and you'll get better at quieting that down. What I'll do, another way to focus for me, and this is a tip, is I'll put on like a playlist of music, and I'll sit in silence and I'll meditate and I'll breathe with that. And if I find that my thoughts are still a little bit active, I'll start to focus in on, I'll pick like one instrument out of the music, and I'll focus in on that. And that gives my mind something productive to do. And when I do that, I find that I bring awareness to parts of music that I wasn't aware of previously. I'll pick out one instrument that I never really heard before because it was all kind of blended into the background, and I'm able to focus on that, and that gives my mind something to do, and I'll incorporate that with breathing. That's the thing with meditation, is a lot of times people will say, well, I just can't do it. I have resistance to it because of my thoughts. But if you could do something like that to get you started, that's a huge, huge help.
That's a great tip. Is that music like with words, without words?
Even whatever resonates with you. I'll put on my playlist of, sometimes, it's rock music a lot of times, and I'll just pick out an instrument.
Really?
So it's not blasting, but I've got it going, and I'll pick out an instrument, and I'll feel it, I'll sense it, I'll bring awareness to it, and that just shifts me. That a lot of times alone will shift me. I'll feel energy rise up from within. So there's no prescribed way to meditate. A lot of times people think they need to sit in silence and focus. Do whatever works for you, whatever allows you to bring awareness to the body. Okay, and if you're using your hearing for that, pulling it in with breath, fantastic.
That's great. That each person has it their own way. I just want to say that if someone's new to it, or if he started, if one way doesn't work, try another, and be consistent, because everything in life that is worth it, and we need practice again and again, and then, we figure out the right path for us. So I really appreciate it.
Key. Yeah. And again, the big thing that I always stress with when I coach somebody is, do this when you're feeling good. I can't stress that enough. Okay, because it's a lot easier. There's a lot less resistance. It's like jumping into the deep end of the pool without knowing how to swim. You want to start swimming in the shallow end a little bit, right? Get used to that. So do it when you're feeling good. If you're feeling really high vibrational, sit down with that and embody those emotions. Breathe with it. And that's going to be available to you when you need it later in the future, when you're triggered.
That's amazing. I think that, practicing at that time, even like you just now said, people and the day-to-day life, just put it on your clock 1 minute a day that you're aware of what's happening around you, aware of your breath. And that way it would be a lot easier for you and it would be a lot more hopeful in those stressful times. So I appreciate you emphasizing that and giving those tools. I do have one more question that I'm sure 99.999, maybe I'll say even 100% of the people, sometimes it holds them back. And for some people, it's actually a stepping stone. So that is basically our past. So right now in the present, we have so many distractions, but a lot of them come from our past, from things that we build our identity. Well, I won't say we build, other people build together our identity on that past. How can we use that past as a stepping stone for growth rather than a stone that takes us down and drowns us?
Well, the key to that is to bringing awareness to it. When something comes up in our daily lives, a lot of times subconsciously we'll just follow it because that's what we've been taught. They relate to traumas from the past. But when we can start to bring awareness to these things and feel the feelings, the emotions that come up, that something doesn't feel right, something's a little bit off, we can then sit with those emotions. And that's kind of how we unwind a lot of that programming that has been running our lives from day to day. So feeling is the key. Getting in and being aware of the emotions. That's the thing. When we can breathe into the body, take it away from the five senses, bring it into the body and feel what's going on within the body will show us, because the body essentially is the subconscious mind. It will show us where this energy is stuck and where these emotions are. And when those emotions come up, we could sit in presence with them and breathe with them and start to rewind or unwind a lot of those limiting beliefs and change them. And it all comes down to being, bringing awareness to them. We can't change something if we're not aware of it. So we bring awareness to it. This doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. I've been taught to do this, but it's just not resonating. Sit with that, and then that's how you start to change those.
Wow, that's really interesting. Just to make sure I understood you. So you're saying that also if people don't know exactly that past is holding them, the way to be aware of it is first, in order to find that, is to do that breathing, and that breathing will bring up that the inside that those feelings that we need to be aware of them. Is that right? And then when that comes up, then we want to be aware and actually feel them.
Well, the breathing's one tool. Sometimes you'll just feel it. You'll be in a situation and something will click within you. You're like, why am I doing this? This just doesn't feel like it's me. That's the real you starting to come forward. Something doesn't resonate. So we want to get in and we want to feel that. If you could breathe with that, feel it, fully feel it, that allows, basically you're becoming more conscious, okay? More conscious. More awareness is coming into the body, okay? And you're expanding. And that allows more of your higher self to drop in. And that changes how you make decisions going forward. When we're in the mind, we're very reactive. Okay, when we're in the body, we're very responsive. Okay, we could actually see and make decisions with awareness. By feeling. Okay, we become aware of a situation, we feel, we get in tune with our intuition, and that starts to guide us instead of our limiting beliefs and our programming, things we learned when we grew up.
Beautiful. So through that awareness, we can basically see things will come up, because that's life, and through being aware to them and being aware to those patterns, we'll be able to feel it and and take care of what needs to be taken care of and to move forward. So if that's the case, and all the tools you brought here, Marc, what I love about them, no excuse, like everyone can practice them. I'm not saying I didn't say it's going to be easy, but it's for sure going to be worth it. So when you invest, when you go and check an investment, you are an accountant. But when you go and check an investment, you want to check the return you're going to get. Over here, average of the index is 8-9%. Over here, we're not even talking percent. Like the return that we can get from being aware and using these tools that you just now gave us are even more than I can put in words. But we need to practice it and find what's right for us. With those tools, each person will use the tools in the way that is right for them. So I really appreciate you sharing all those tools. I'm sure it's helpful and it could light people's path and the path of the people surrounding them. So I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
And hopefully, in the future, we'll get another opportunity to get some more great golden nuggets that can help more people. And that would be, I really appreciate your time. I know you have a lot on your plate. So really, thank you very much, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, have a wonderful day.
I hope you enjoyed the video and got some tools to overcome your challenges and light your path. If you haven't yet, please smash that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, the most amazing things in life are the ones you take for granted.